Hi everyone! I just got back from the Grand Decameron resort in Panama and I'm going to give you my honest review. So starting out high with location, I would give the location 5 stars. It really was the main reason that we chose to stay at the Grand Decameron versus the other all-inclusive resorts that Panama does have. Being literally 7 minutes from the Rio Hato airport meant that we were able to really just start our vacation right away rather than adding an additional, let's say like 2-hour drive to get into Panama City right after landing and already having a long travel day. So location, 5 out of 5. Right from check-in, one thing that I kind of noticed was that the staff wasn't necessarily up to the expectations that I had based on other all-inclusive resorts that I had, and for that reason, I'm going to give staff a rating of 3 out of 5. While some of them were really great and fantastic and super kind and helpful, others were kind of not the greatest. Not necessarily the most friendly people you'll ever meet, and also it was just kind of strange, the situation where you would be having a conversation with a staff member, asking your questions or checking into your hotel room or whatever the case, and they would just get distracted super easily and kind of leave you alone for a little bit, and that distraction could come from another staff member asking them a question, but sometimes also other guests in the hotel who just kind of butt in and asked questions, and those staff members that you were chatting with would then go and chat with the other folks. So I felt it was just a little bit of a weird experience in terms of the way that the staff interacted with you, but like I said, some of them were phenomenal, and I really appreciated those who were willing to go that extra mile to make your experience better. Now, once we checked in, we were able to head to our room, and I would give the rooms a ranking of 3 stars. They're definitely outdated, but ultimately they do have everything that they need. The room that we got was a garden view double, so it had 2 double beds in it, and then it also had kind of like a cot-sized twin bed as well for a third person. We only went with 2 people, so no one actually checked if it was comfortable or not, but it is there if folks do need it. The rooms were cleaned daily, but regardless, the sheets did still have some stains and there were cobwebs on the walls, but the rooms did each have a balcony or a patio, so that was kind of a nice way to be able to enjoy the nice weather even if you did want to spend some time in the air conditioning of your room. We had expected there to be drinks in the fridge in our room, but that might have just been a mistake for us. We later found out that it was an upgrade, or you needed to have purchased an additional package to have those drinks in your fridge in your room. So that was just on us for missing that detail, so just something for you to be aware of. But the room really does have everything you need in it. Just I would dock a couple of points because it is kind of outdated, and the sheets did have stains and stuff like that, so that's why I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 5. Now, the food was not necessarily up my alley. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't exactly what I expected the food to taste like, especially, meals like potatoes or hash browns. Like, I kind of expected them to taste like what I was familiar with, and they just didn't. They tasted a bit strange to me. So I'm going to give the food a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it wasn't necessarily that the food was bad. It was just different and not really my taste. I definitely enjoyed the a la carte options more than the buffet options. The a la cartes were only available for dinner and did have to be booked in advance, which is pretty typical for any all-inclusive that you're going to go to. When it comes to lunch and breakfast selections, those were always buffet offerings. The buffets did have a good variety. One thing that I would say when it comes to the food when you go there is you're not always going to get what you expect. So, for example, we went to the Mediterranean restaurant that they had for one of our a la carte dinners over there, and for dessert we ordered baklava, which, is pretty typical worldwide with what you should expect. But what we got instead of getting baklava was trail mix in essentially an egg roll. So it wasn't baklava for sure. So it was kind of just a lesson to us to not necessarily expect what you think you're going to get. When it comes to things to do at the resort, so pools, amenities, activities, and programming, 5 out of 5. I never felt like there wasn't something going on or something to do. The pools were amazing. They were nice and clean. The water was warm. Obviously, the sun helped warm it up throughout the day, so the mornings were a little chillier, but it got better as the day went on. And there were a ton of different pools on the resort, so none of them were super packed that you felt like you couldn't really go in. One thing that was different compared to other all-inclusives I've done in the past is that you can't have drinks in the pool. So if you are going to be getting a drink from a bar, just make sure you finish it before you hop into the pool. There were also 2 big, probably like 5-story tall water slides. Maybe that's an exaggeration. I'm not really good at measuring things, but pretty big water slides that even adults could use, which I thought was super exciting because I do not remember the last time I went on a water slide. Besides that, on resort, you'll also find a games room that has stuff like Giant Connect 4 and Twister set up. They'll have sports games running. They have pool tables, all of that good stuff that you kind of want to make sure you have to keep yourself entertained. There's also nightly shows and daily programming, basically every hour of the day. There's also a beautiful clean beach right on the resort, so you didn't have to walk too far from your room to get to the beach, and there were lifeguards on duty as well to just make sure that everyone was staying safe. The other area that I'm going to give a 5 out of 5 is the excursions available. When we were looking on the website pre our trip, we noticed that there were only a couple of excursions listed, but when you go and chat with the folks at the booking desk, there are actually a lot more excursions available. Now, because we had only gone for a really short trip, we just chose to do one excursion. We went to the Panama City and Canal, and that trip was wonderful. Tour guide was amazing, the bus driver was amazing, everyone was so knowledgeable and so friendly, and all the folks who were on the excursion as well really enjoyed it. I really would recommend going on that trip if you are going to the Grand Decameron and are looking for one of the excursions to do. Now, obviously, I can't speak to the other ones because I didn't go on that one, but on the Panama City and Canal trip, basically what you can expect is to hop on a bus at the Grand Decameron and take almost a 2-hour ride into Panama City. You're going to stop at an artisanal market, have the opportunity to purchase some souvenirs there, take a bathroom break, and then continue on into Old Panama City. We got to experience a little bit about what Panama was really like, driving through various neighborhoods and then stopping and getting off the bus and doing a walking tour of Old Panama City. From there, we went to lunch and then we went to the Panama Canal. We were really lucky that there was actually a boat going through at the time, so we got to see the lift locks working, but sometimes you're not as fortunate when it comes to that, but regardless, it's still a really cool place to stop by and see. Massive, massive and really impressive when it comes to the engineering behind the canal. Now, overall, I would rank the Grand Decameron in Panama a 4 out of 5. While it definitely shouldn't be considered a 4-star hotel, as it is kind of listed online, because of the excursions and the activities and the things to do on resort and the beautiful beach as well, I would definitely kind of bump that ranking higher. If I had more time on the trip, I definitely would have taken more advantage of the activities and the things to do going on. But regardless, even where there were deficiencies in other areas, I think those excursions and activities and amenities available really made that experience worth it. And I really, really enjoyed the resort. I hope you found this review helpful. If you are considering going to the Grand Decameron in Panama, it was overall a really wonderful experience, and I hope you have a wonderful vacation. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more travel tips and itineraries. See you next time.